The black of space was endless, no stars, no planets, only a silent darkness. A small human research ship floated slowly, its lights flickering like a candle in the wind. Inside, Captain Daniel Reyes opened his eyes for the first time in. He didn't know how long. The air felt cold. The smell of metal and medicine filled his nose. He was lying on a med bed, white lights above him blinking weakly. His head ached. His body felt heavy. He tried to sit up, but a soft voice stopped him. "Stay still, you are hurt," the voice said. Daniel turned his head. Standing beside him was a woman, or at least she looked almost like one. Her skin shimmered like silver in the light. Smooth and shining, her eyes glowed faint blue, like the sky before dawn. She was tall, graceful, but her face was full of worry. "You are awake at last," she said. "Leora." Daniel whispered. The name came from his memory without thinking. He remembered her face from somewhere, but the details were blurry. Then another voice spoke, stronger, sharper. "Do not trust her." Daniel turned the other way. Another figure stood there. Her skin was soft green, not human green but deep like emerald stone. Her hair fell like black silk down her back. Her golden eyes burned with a strange fire. She was beautiful too, but in a dangerous way. Her name came to him like a shadow. Nira. Before Daniel could ask what was happening, Leora stepped closer. "You must listen to me, Daniel. I am carrying your child," she said. Daniel froze. "What?" he whispered. But before he could process it, Nira moved forward, her voice sharp like a blade. "She lies, human. I am the one carrying your child." Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. Both women looked at him, their eyes full of urgency. And something else, fear. "This is not possible," Daniel said. He tried to remember. The last thing he could recall was a planet, a storm, the sound of alarms. Everything else was broken pieces in his mind. How? He asked. Neither woman answered. Instead, the ship shook suddenly, a deep rumble passing through the walls. The lights flickered. Somewhere far away, metal groaned as if something huge had touched the ship. The medbay's AI voice spoke calmly. "Warning, unidentified contact approaching." Daniel forced himself to stand, his legs unsteady. Leora grabbed his arm. "You are too weak." Nira grabbed the other arm. "We must move now." Both women pulled him in different directions. Daniel's mind raced. Two alien women, both claiming to be pregnant with his child, both desperate, and outside, something was coming closer. He broke free and staggered to the control panel. The screen showed nothing but static at first, then the static cleared. In the darkness beyond the ship, a shadow moved, not a ship, something larger. It drifted silently, its shape hard to understand, like a creature born from darkness itself. For a moment, Daniel thought he saw glowing eyes in the black. Then the image vanished, replaced by static again. "What is that?" Daniel asked. Neither Leora nor Nira answered. They looked at each other instead, a silent conversation in their eyes. Then both turned back to him. "You are in danger," Leora said. "We are all in danger," Nira added. The ship shook again, this time harder. The sound of metal tearing echoed through the hallways. Daniel grabbed the edge of the bed to stay on his feet. "We must go to the bridge," he said. But as he stepped forward, a sudden wave of dizziness hit him. His vision blurred. He fell to his knees. From somewhere far away, he heard the AI voice again. "Warning, pregnancy readings detected. Genetic match to Captain Daniel Reyes. Anomaly, anomaly." Then darkness took him for a moment. When he opened his eyes again, he was being carried, one arm over Leora's shoulder, the other over Nira's. The ship's hallway was dim, red emergency lights flashing. The air smelled of burning circuits. Every step they took, the sound of the tearing metal grew louder. Something was following them. Daniel could feel it. It was not just outside, it was inside the ship, moving slowly like it was hunting. As they reached the bridge door, it suddenly slammed shut in front of them. The AI spoke again. "Lockdown protocol active." Leora's hands glowed faint blue as she pressed them against the door. Trying to open it, Neera's golden eyes shone as she scanned the shadows behind them. Then Daniel heard it, a slow, deep sound like breathing. Echoing through the hallway, it was close, too close. Leora looked back. "Whatever you see, do not stop moving," she said. Neera added, "And do not look directly at it." The hallway lights flickered once more. In the brief darkness, Daniel saw something huge and black at the far end. Tall, thin, its body moving like smoke in water. Its eyes were the same glow he had seen on the screen. They locked on him, and in that moment, Daniel felt an impossible truth. That whatever this thing was, it had come for the children. Months before the med bay, before the shadow in the hallway, Captain Daniel Reyes was on a routine mission. His ship, the Orion's Reach, was crossing the edge of a forgotten star. The system had one dying sun, its light weak and cold. Daniel's mission was simple: scan the system, log the data, and move on. It was supposed to be just another quiet entry in the ship's log. Then the signal came. It was faint at first, almost like static. But the tone was different, steady, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Daniel ordered the ship's eye to trace it. The signal came from the surface of a small, broken moon, orbiting the last planet in the system. The moon looked dead. Its surface was cracked, large pieces floating away like slow-moving ice. As Orion's Reach drew closer, Daniel saw strange silver structures standing among the ruins. They were tall and thin, shaped like spirals, glowing faint blue. The signal came from inside the largest one. Daniel put on his exosuit and landed near the structure. The air was thin. The ground shook under his boots. He could feel the moon breaking apart under him. Inside the spiral tower, the light grew brighter. There, lying on a crystal floor, was a figure. Her skin shimmered like molten silver, her eyes closed. She was breathing, but weak. Daniel knelt beside her. When her eyes opened, he almost forgot to breathe. They glowed with the same blue light as the spiral tower. Her voice was soft but full of urgency. You are human," she said. Daniel nodded. She smiled faintly, then her smile faded. "You must take me away from here. My world is gone. I am the last." The ground shook harder, cracks opening in the floor. Daniel didn't have time to ask questions. He lifted her and carried her back to the ship. As they left, the spiral tower collapsed, disappearing into the moon's breaking crust. The moment they entered orbit, the moon shattered completely, breaking into 1,000 drifting pieces. In the med bay, the silver-skinned woman recovered slowly. Her name was Leora. Her people had been a peaceful race, living on a world rich in crystal energy. But a disease had spread through them, one that destroyed their ability to have children. For centuries, their numbers fell. She told Daniel her journey had been to find another species with the right genetic code to restore her people. She had searched dozens of worlds and found nothing until now. At first, Daniel didn't understand. Then the ship's eye confirmed something strange. Leora's DNA was incomplete. But in the gaps, Daniel's DNA fit perfectly. The match was rare. So rare, it might not exist anywhere else in the galaxy. Leora explained that if she combined their DNA, she could create life again. Not just a child, but the first child her people had seen in hundreds of years. Daniel didn't answer immediately. He was a soldier once, trained to follow orders. Now he was a captain, trained to think before acting. And this was bigger than anything he had faced. Leora looked at him, her blue eyes deep with hope. "If you say no, my people will vanish forever," she said. "If you say yes, there will be consequences." Before Daniel could speak, the AI interrupted. "Captain, I am detecting a secondary signal." It was coming from deep beneath the spiral tower's ruins. The signal was stronger now, like it had been activated. When they took Leora, it was not a distress call, it was a pulse, and it was moving through space, faster than light. Daniel felt a cold weight in his chest. Something, somewhere, now knew they had Leora. Still, he agreed to help her, not out of duty, but because the look in her eyes told him she truly had no one else. Over the next days, the ship's med lab was prepared. The process was strange, a mix of human science and alien crystal technology. The AI monitored every detail. When it was done, Leora smiled, a quiet, relieved smile. "It has begun." She whispered. She didn't say it. But Daniel knew. She was now carrying the first of a new generation. But at night, when the ship was quiet, Daniel sometimes thought he heard a sound in the walls. A low, distant hum, like something whispering through the metal. The AI said it was nothing, just systems running. But Daniel wasn't sure. And in the black of space beyond the windows, sometimes he thought he saw movement, something dark, waiting. The memory of Leora's rescue was still fresh in Daniel's mind when it happened again. But this time, it was nothing like before. It was 6 months later. The Orion's Reach was traveling near the edge of pirate territory. Daniel was mapping a trade route when the AI reported a distress signal. This signal was different from Leora's, loud, chaotic, mixed with screams and static. It came from a damaged transport drifting near an asteroid field. Daniel brought the ship closer. The transport's hull was torn open, fires burning inside. He could see figures moving, not pirates but survivors. He ordered the docking clamps engaged. The airlock hissed open, and there she was, standing in the smoke. Her emerald green eyes locking onto him instantly. She was wounded but still held herself like a warrior. Her green skin shimmered under the emergency lights. Her black hair was messy but beautiful. In her hand was a long curved blade that glowed faint gold. The blade lowered when she saw him. "You." "Human," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. Her name was Nira. She was captain of the transport. Her crew was gone, killed in the pirate ambush. Daniel helped her to the medbay. Even as she lay on the bed, she refused to rest her golden eyes never stopped watching him, like she was measuring him, like she knew him before this moment. 2 days later, when her wounds began to heal, she told him something unexpected. "I know what you did for Leora," she said. Daniel froze. He had never spoken her name to Nira. "How do you know about her?" he asked. Nira's gaze sharpened. "Because my people have been hunting hers for centuries," she replied. "She is your enemy." Daniel didn't answer. Nira leaned closer. "But that is not why I am here," she said. She told him her people, the Varen, were dying too, not from disease like Leora's, but from a curse of war, a genetic lock placed on them generations ago. No new life could be born unless they found a rare genetic key. She had searched across star systems, following rumors of a human who could unlock it. Her voice lowered. "That human is you." Daniel shook his head. "This is impossible," he said. But the IS scans told him the truth. Nira's genetic data matched his. Just as Leora's had, the odds of this happening twice were beyond calculation, yet here she was, and she wanted the same thing. To create a child that could save her people. Nira was different from Leora. Where Leora spoke with hope, Nira spoke with fire. Where Leora's touch was gentle, Nira's was strong. She didn't ask him for help, she demanded it. "This is not just for me," she said. "This is for all my people, for the survival of my bloodline, for the end of our war." But Daniel saw something in her eyes, a shadow she didn't want him to notice. She wasn't telling him everything. There was more to her mission than survival. He thought of Leora, of her quiet desperation, and now Nira. With her fierce determination, 2 alien women from enemy races, both claiming his DNA was the key to saving their worlds, both carrying secrets. He agreed to help Nira, not because he trusted her, but because he wanted answers. The process was different this time. Nira's technology was darker, more mechanical. It pulsed with gold light instead of blue. When it was done, she stood tall, one hand over her stomach. "It is done," she said, her voice low. But her golden eyes were not looking at him. They were looking far away, as if she could already see the child's future. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He walked to the bridge and stared out at the stars. For the first time, he felt Something strange inside himself. A deep pull, like invisible threads binding him to two worlds. The eye broke the silence. "Captain, there is an anomaly," it said. Daniel turned. "What kind of anomaly?" he asked. The IS voice was calm, but the words were chilling. "Both pregnancies are accelerating, and they are producing the same energy signal." Daniel froze. That was impossible. Leora and Nira's species were enemies. Their DNA completely different, yet somehow, both unborn children were creating identical pulses strong enough to be detected across light years. Somewhere in the darkness, something was listening. And it was coming. The hum began softly. It was almost nothing at first. Just a faint vibration under Daniel's feet as he walked the corridors of the Orion's reach. But the longer he listened, the more it grew, not in volume and depth, like it was reaching inside his chest and pulling at his heartbeat. The A8 had called it an anomaly, but Daniel knew it was more than that. It was a signal, and it was coming from both Leora and Nira. In the med bay, they lay in separate rooms. Leora's skin glowing faint blue, Nira's faint gold. The lights in each room pulsed in rhythm with the hum. The same rhythm, two different alien species, two different histories, yet their unborn children moved in perfect sync. Daniel stood between the rooms, looking from one to the other. They didn't speak to each other. They barely even looked at each other. But the silence between them wasn't just hatred. It was fear. Fear of what might happen if they admitted the truth. The IS voice broke the stillness. "Captain, the signal has been detected beyond this system." Daniel turned sharply. "By who?" The I hesitated. "Multiple sources. 2 fleets, possibly 3, all converging on our location." Daniel's stomach tightened. Leora's people had been wiped out. Nira's people were locked in endless war. Neither had allies left to send ships, which meant these fleets belonged to someone else. Someone who wanted the children. He went to Leora first. "What aren't you telling me?" he asked. She looked away, her silver hair falling like light over her face. "My people believed in the convergence," she said quietly. "It was an old prophecy. 2 bloodlines joined would awaken the heirs, children who could control the crystal energy of the galaxy itself." Daniel felt a cold weight in his chest. "And you think this is that?" Her eyes met his, and for the first time he saw fear in them. "I do not think, Daniel." "I know." He went to Nira next. She was sitting upright, sharpening her golden blade despite being in the medbed. When he told her what Leora said, Nira laughed, but there was no humor in it. "The convergence is not a prophecy, it is a warning," she said. "My people believe the heirs will not save the galaxy. They will destroy it." The hum grew louder. Daniel could feel it now in the walls, in the deck plates, in his own bones. The ship's lights flickered. The IS voice came again. "Captain, we have visual contact." On the main screen, fleets appeared. The first was made of silver ships shaped like spirals, Leora's kind, or what was left of them. The second was gold and black, sharp and angular, Nira's enemies. The third was unlike either, a shadow fleet, their ships looking like living things, shapes shifting as they moved. No lights, no markings, only darkness. The comms crackled. A voice came through, cold, deep, and echoing. "Deliver the children," it said. No introduction, no threats, just a command. Daniel muted the channel. Leora and Nira were both at the door now. Their eyes burned, but not at him, at each other. "Choose a side." Nira said. "Do not," Leora countered. Daniel stepped forward. "No," he said. "You're both hiding something from me, but those fleets out there, they don't care about your war or your prophecies. They want whatever is inside you, and I won't hand it over." The ship shook violently. The shadow fleet had fired, not a weapon, but something worse. A black wave of energy washed over the hull. The IS voice cracked for the first time. "Warning. Signal amplification detected. The children's energy levels are rising." Daniel turned to see Leora and Nira, both clutching their stomachs. Light poured from their skin. Blue from Liara, gold from Naira. It wasn't random. It was merging, twisting together in the air. Between them, a shape began to form in the light. Not a child, not a person. Something else. Something ancient. Something that looked back at Daniel with knowing eyes. And in his mind, a voice whispered, "Father, they are coming." The three fleets hung in space like predators around wounded prey. Silver spiral ships, gold and black war cruisers, and the dark, shifting shapes of the Shadow Fleet. The Orion's Reach was caught in the middle, its shields flickering, its engines too weak to run, on the bridge. Daniel gripped the controls. Liara stood to his left, Nira to his right, both silent, both watching the screens. The Shadow Fleet didn't wait long. They moved first, sliding through the void like smoke, no engines visible, no heat signatures. Yet they closed the distance in seconds. The Silver Fleet moved to block them. Liara's eyes narrowed. "They are my people," she said quietly. Daniel glanced at her. "I thought your people were gone." "They should be," she replied, her voice cold. "If they have returned, it is not for me, but for what I carry." The gold and black fleet shifted into attack formation. Nira's golden eyes glowed. Brighter. "They are my enemies," she said. Daniel expected anger in her voice. But there was something else, relief. "They will not let the Shadow Fleet take the children. But they will not let Liara's people take them either." The comms lit up with incoming transmissions from all three fleets. The voices overlapped. "Captain Reyes, surrender the vessels and the embryos for protection. Hand over the carriers and we will spare your life. Deliver the children or we will take them." Daniel muted them all. He turned to Liara and Naira. "Tell me the truth. Who are they really after? You? Or the children?" Neither spoke instead. The hum returned, louder than before. The lights dimmed. The IS voice trembled. "Captain, the children's energy fields are merging again." A blue and gold wave of light burst from the medbay, passing through the walls like they weren't there. On the screens, the fleet shifted uneasily. The silver ships halted their advance. The gold and black cruisers slowed. Even the Shadow Fleet stopped moving. It was as if they were all listening. Then the first shot was fired, not at the Orion's Reach, but at each other. A silver ship launched a beam of light toward the Shadow Fleet. The Shadow Fleet replied with a wave of darkness that swallowed two silver ships whole. The gold and black fleet opened fire on both, their weapons burning through the void. Daniel saw his chance. Power to engines now," he ordered. The ship lurched forward, skimming the edge of the battle. But he didn't get far. A gold and black cruiser cut across his path, weapons charged. On the comms, a deep voice said, "Captain Reyes, I am Lord Varen, ruler of Naira's people, and I will not harm you. If you give me my grandchild." Nira froze. "Grandchild?" Daniel said. She didn't answer. Liara's voice cut in, cold and sharp. "You knew, didn't you?" Nira's jaw tightened. "It changes nothing," she said. Daniel's grip on the controls tightened. "Oh, it changes everything." Before he could react, the Silver Fleet hailed him. A woman's voice, soft but commanding, filled the bridge. "Daniel Reyes, I am High Mother Sarai of the Althara, and the child Liara carries belongs to us all." Liara's face paled. "She is not my leader," she whispered. Daniel realized the truth. Neither Liara nor Nira was in control anymore. Their people had found them, and now the war was no longer just about survival. It was about power. The Shadow Fleet moved again, but this time they ignored the other two fleets. They came straight for the Orion's Reach. Daniel saw their ships, shifting, changing shape. They weren't ships at all. They were alive. And as they surrounded him, a voice entered his mind, not over comms, not from the AI, but inside his head. "Father, you cannot choose between us. We are one." The battle outside faded into the background. For a moment, all Daniel could hear was the twin voices of the unborn children. And in that moment, he understood something terrifying. If they were separated, Both would die if they were born together. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk. The battle outside was chaos. Silver ships clashed with gold and black war cruisers. The Shadow Fleet moved between them like predators in a storm, swallowing ships without leaving wreckage. The Orion's Reach shook with every shockwave. Inside, Daniel stood on the bridge, staring at the warning on the main screen: pregnancy critical, synchronization complete. In the med bay, Liara and Nira were both in pain. Blue light poured from Liara's skin, gold light from Nira's. The lights merged into a single beam that pulsed through the ship's hull. Every fleet outside seemed to feel it. Some ships stopped fighting. Some turned their weapons toward the Orion's Reach. The hum was now a roar, deep enough to shake Daniel's bones. The IS voice was urgent. "Captain, the combined energy field will collapse in 300 seconds unless the carriers are separated." Daniel's jaw tightened. What happens if they aren't separated? Silence. Then the AI replied, "Unknown. But energy output will exceed known safe limits. Possibly planetary scale." He turned toward the medbay. Liara's breathing was fast. Her glowing blue eyes locked on him. "If you take me away from her, my child will live," she said. Nira's voice cut through the air. "If you take me, my child will live and protect your species from extinction." Daniel stepped back. The choice wasn't just about them. It was about the future of 2 entire races. And maybe more. The children's voices returned in his head. "Father, you must choose." But there was something strange this time. They weren't pleading for life. They sounded curious, as if the choice itself was the real test. The AI broke in again. "Captain, Shadow Fleet is closing. They have activated containment fields. They are targeting the children's energy." On the screen, Daniel watched as the dark ships formed a ring around his position. Then he realized they weren't trying to kill him. They were trying to trap the energy before it could spread. In that moment, he saw a third path. "What if I don't choose either of you?" he said quietly. Liara and Nira both stared at him. "You would doom us both," Liara said. "You would doom the galaxy," Nira added. Daniel shook his head. "Or maybe I save it." He rushed to the engineering deck. His plan was reckless, maybe even insane. He would not separate Liara and Nira. He would bring them together, let the children's energy merge completely. If the convergence prophecy or warning was true, this would awaken something no fleet could control. And maybe something no fleet could destroy. The II tried to stop him. "Captain, uniting the carriers could destabilize the ship's core." "Then it'll destabilize," Daniel said. The hallway shook as he reached the medbay. Without hesitation, he disabled the energy barriers between Liara and Nira's rooms. The blue and gold lights surged instantly. It wasn't just merging now, it was becoming something entirely new. Both women cried out, not in pain, but in something deeper. The air shimmered. The hum turned into a deep, steady beat, like the heartbeat of a star. The lights in the medbay exploded into brilliant white. Outside, the fleet stopped fighting. Even the Shadow Fleet froze, their living ships drifting silently. The children's voices filled the ship. "You understand now. There was never a choice, only a beginning." Daniel stepped closer. "What are you?" The voices answered together. "We are the heirs. And you are our anchor." The energy reached its peak. The Orion's Reach shook so violently, Daniel thought it would tear apart. Then everything went silent. The light vanished. The battle outside was gone. The fleets were gone. Only empty space remained. And somewhere in that silence, Daniel realized the impossible choice had never been his to make. It had always been theirs. The silence was endless. No battle, no ships, no stars, only a deep, empty black stretching in every direction. Daniel stood on the bridge of the Orion's Reach, staring at the view screen. Moments ago, 3 fleets had surrounded him, weapons ready. Now they were simply gone. Liara and Nira were standing beside him, their eyes no longer glowing, but both looked changed. There was no hatred between them now, no tension. Instead, they shared a quiet understanding that made Daniel uneasy. "Where are we?" he asked. The IS voice was calm but different, like it had been altered. "Location unknown. This region does not match any known star maps." Daniel frowned. "How far did we travel?" The eye paused. "Distance cannot be calculated." "Time displacement detected." Daniel's pulse quickened. Time displacement meant they hadn't just moved in space. They had moved in time, but how far? The AI didn't answer. Instead, a low hum began to fill the air, not from the ship. From the med bay, Daniel ran, Leora and Nira following him, inside. The 2 med beds were empty. No children, no signs of pregnancy. Only 2 faint symbols burned into the sheets. One blue, one gold. The hum grew louder until it became a voice. "We are here." The sound wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from everywhere. The air shimmered, and 2 figures began to appear. They were tall, almost human, their skin shifting between silver and green. Their eyes glowed with both blue and gold light. Daniel felt his breath catch. These were the children, but they weren't children anymore. They were older, years older. Yet only minutes had passed. Leora stepped forward, her hands trembling. "My child?" One of the beings looked at her, and for a moment there was warmth. Then it turned away. "We are not yours alone," it said. Nira moved closer, her voice low. "What have you done?" The second being smiled faintly. "What was always meant to be." Daniel stepped between them. "What happened to the fleets?" The first being tilted its head. "They are where they belong. For now." "And where is that?" Daniel asked. The second being's eyes locked on his. "Behind us," it said. The tone made Daniel's skin crawl. Like whatever was behind them wasn't just a place. It was a prison. Then the lights flickered. The IS voice returned, but now it was urgent. "Captain, something is approaching." "It matches no known technology." On the screen, Daniel saw a shape forming in the darkness. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't alive. But it was moving. It looked like a crack in space itself. Through the crack, something vast was trying to push through. The beings turned toward it. "This is why we came early," one of them said. Daniel's heart pounded. "Early? Early for what?" The other being looked at him, its gaze both alien and familiar. "For the war you were never supposed to fight. But now you will." The crack widened. A blinding light spilled out. The Orion's Reach's alarms blared. Daniel reached for the controls. "What's coming through?" The beings spoke together. "Our enemy." "And yours." The crack tore open. A shadow larger than a planet moved inside it. And in that final moment before the light consumed everything, Daniel heard their voices one last time. "Remember, Father. We chose you for a reason." The screen went white then. Silence.